Hello again, everyone. This is Ken Kibler, the Director of Client Profitability for eTruckBiz. We're about a minute shy of the top of the hour today. We will get going as I see the attendee list start to level off. Today is going to be a big talk about the UPS Teamster situation. So please sit tight and we'll get going shortly after the top of the hour. Thank you very much. Hello again, everyone. My name's Ken Kibler. I am the Director of Customer Profitability for eTruckBiz. Uh, Looks like the attendee list is starting to level off a little bit here. I want to thank you for joining us on this Wednesday rather than Tuesday due to the holiday. Uh, we are actually going to talk about some fireworks today between the Teamsters and UPS and how their negotiations are going or not going, or some of the bombs that they're lobbying at each other. So those are going to be some of the things that we talk about, as well as kind of where you have to go from here with your business, because we think that's going to be equally important, is how do you respond to what's happening out there. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Walczak. If you have any questions, once again, please put them in the Q&A. It seems to work best for us and allows the presentation to flow. So thank you for joining us. And with further ado, Jeff Walczak.
Okay, Ken, as always, we start off saying the eTruckBiz is not endorsed, sponsored, approved, or otherwise affiliated with FedEx Ground. So first, let's take a quick look at last week's volume. So taking a look here, it's flat. Nothing really too much happened. Again, look at the trend over some time, but as far as last week went, not too much happened on both the delivery and pickup side of the fence. But, and this is something that, I mean, last couple weeks, the stops per dispatch have been taking a dive, and I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but on the right graph, if you look over there at the end, you see the dive in stops per dispatch. That's not a good thing with what's about to happen here. So we're going to harping on that. So the last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, we've been watching both FedEx's volume and UPS's volumes. Both still seem to be stagnant, or in UPS's case, they're backing up a bit. Now, all right. Now, here's the main event here last couple 3 days, and especially today. So, what's going on with the strike threat today? So, before today, if you were watching this last week, or if you were watching this over the weekend, it looked like it was actually being reported that UPS nears deal to dodge Teamster strike. And there was any number of articles out there touting how everything's okay, nothing to see here, keep on moving, strike's over, strike never happened, everything's great. In fact, they say here, United Parcel Service is close to reaching an agreement with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters that would hold off a possible strike over the nation's largest private sector collective bargaining agreement. And this was July 3rd, right? Also, this publication, UPS reaches deal that lowers chances of nationwide Teamster strike. Guess everything's okay. Here was another headline. UPS offers Teamsters new proposal that could prevent strike. Everything's going great. This particular article from Louisville publication said, UPS Teamsters have taken a major step in negotiations, but a strike is still on the table. Well, wait a minute. Is it on the table or is it not on the table? What everybody else said, everything's okay. And it's interesting, this picture here, if you can see it, look in the picture, it says UPS Teamsters just practicing for a just contract. So this is actually brilliant what they did here. So they're actually picketing. They're not calling it picketing. They're just saying, well, we're just practicing picketing. So now, instead of going on strike so they can have a picket line, now you can have a picket line while you're still on the UPS payroll. Why deplete the Teamsters almost non-existent strike fund if you can just stay on keep getting paychecks from UPS and still picket them? Fantastic. Calling it just practicing. So everything was good until, wait a minute. Something just happened. Today is July 5th, is it not, Ken? Is today July 5th? Yeah, day after the 5th.
It says on the calendar.
Well, that's cool. Well, look at that. After marathon sessions, UPS negotiations collapse. Look at the date there, 7/5/23. So this actually, well, let's find out what's going on here. So around 4 a.m., UPS walked away from the bargaining table after presenting an unacceptable offer to the Teamsters that did not address members' needs. The UPS Teamsters National Negotiating Committee unanimously rejected the package. Following marathon negotiations, UPS refused to give the Teamsters a last, best, and final offer, telling the union the company had nothing more to give. So it talks about some other things. This multi-billion-dollar corporation has plenty to give American workers. They just don't want to, said Mr. O'Brien. So the Teamsters got out there and told everybody that UPS walked away. Well, UPS, here's another story from this morning. UPS denies walking away from talks with the union as strike looms. What? Again, 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. Teamsters Union said on Wednesday United Parcel Service walked away from negotiations over a new contract, a claim that the parcel delivery firm denied amid growing chances of a strike. The Teamsters have stopped negotiating despite UPS's historic offer that builds on our industry-leading pay, the company said, adding that the union should return to the negotiations. Now, if you followed this for quite some time, everything coming out of UPS so far was somehow positive. Oh, we're making progress. Everything's great. Yep. Air conditioning in the trucks. Everything's fantastic. Until they said this finally. The union had earlier in the day said UPS made an offer that was unanimously rejected and the company had walked away from the bargaining table. UPS sweetened its offer last week, but O'Brien said it did not go far enough. to reward workers who risk their lives to deliver packages. Push for higher wages comes as labor unions are enjoying a higher bargaining power with companies which have been grappling with labor shortages since the pandemic. So looks like the union is, or the brotherhood is telling folks what they think here. They think that they got them. They got UPS. Refusing to negotiate, especially when the finish line is in sight, creates significant unease among employees and customers and threatens to disrupt the U.S. economy. UPS said on Wednesday. Wait a minute, I thought everything was okay. Ken, was everything okay?
That's what they've been saying.
Shares of UPS were down 2.6% before they opened this morning. I think they came back a little bit, but they're still down. I thought everything was okay. So again, if you're following this, June 30th was supposed to be a deadline for the last best offer. And then UPS came to the table with some sort of offer, and the Teamsters said, well, you know, that's better, but you're still not there yet, right? But June 30th, if nothing happens by June 30th, then all hell's breaking loose. Well, June 30th came and went, everything was okay. Oh, wait, nope, July 5th is a deadline now for enough time to ratify. So the Teamsters are saying if they don't have a deal by the 5th, there's no way they can get it to the rank and file so they can vote on it to find out if they're going to approve the contract or not. So then another line in the sand was drawn on the 5th, which is today. You guys remember, as we've been talking about this, we did say there's going to be several deadlines and they're going to come and go and whatnot. So what's going to be the next deadline? Well, don't worry, there'll be another one. Now we're seeing some reports, or some folks are talking about the end of this week. So Friday, something better happened by Friday. All right. Oh, but wait a minute. Something else going on. UPS and Teamsters marathon talks end without a deal to avoid a strike. So a marathon negotiating session between UPS and the Teamsters union ended early Wednesday morning with both sides accusing the other of walking away from the table. There are no signs of a contract settlement in sight. Current contract expires on the 31st, which everybody knows. The two sides had been trying to reach a deal to stop nervous UPS customers from starting to move their business to rival delivery services, including the Postal Service and non-union FedEx. Despite a strike deadline being almost 4 weeks away, some customers are likely to sign long-term deals with UPS competitors by the end of this week if there is not a tentative agreement between the two sides, said Satish Jindal, president of ShipMatrix, a software provider that works with parcel shippers. Many in the shipping community had been looking for a deal between UPS and the Teamsters by the end of the July 4 holiday weekend, he said. So again, if you've been following this whole saga, what happened to the customers having to be on board by the end of March? If you remember, I think it was March, but if you remember, FedEx came out and said, hey, there's a strike possibility, and if you are not signed up by the end of March or whatever it was, Ken, I don't remember, that you weren't, nope, sorry, no room for you on the bus because you didn't sign up by then, right? Ooh, wait a minute. Guess somebody forgot about that. If they're going to sign up new accounts by the end of this week, if a deal isn't done, wait a minute. I told you that was going to happen too. You recall? This is a negative development, he said, about the lack of a deal. If they don't have a handshake this week, both UPS and Teamsters will pay a price. Jindal said that during the last strike at UPS in 97, the company was able to recapture 90% of its business once the strike ended. He said it might be able to only recover 70% of the business in a strike this time because of a greater number of alternatives. FedEx did not have a lower cost ground service in 97, and the Postal Service was not set up to handle as many package deliveries. Amazon also has its own delivery service now. So the clock is ticking faster, right? So if you recall, or some of the communication from FedEx might be or might have been that we're going to impose, if somebody's not on board by March, don't worry about it. If something happens, we're going to restrict how much volume gets in the system. We're going to make sure that we don't overcommit and under-deliver, how you want to put that. We're going to make sure we manage the situation. Well, I don't think managing the situation includes signing up brand new accounts 2 or 3 weeks before the deadline hits or the actual contract is up. So you just saw this happens every time, by the way. All right, if you've been watching this story, I don't know if you've been watching this today or whatever, but they're all over the place now. They are accusing each other of walking away from the talks. Deal collapses. I hope to deliver a contract. This is interesting. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, something called the Courier Journal. UPS and Teamsters end talks. Strike likely. This is coming from that publication, and whatever it is from the Louisville area, and it popped up this morning. Strike likely. Stay tuned, because things are and will be changing quickly. So just because all this is happening, we don't know right now. Nobody knows right now if maybe they're back talking again. Maybe instead of sitting around the bargaining table, maybe they're out at the pool now talking about stuff where all kinds of things could happen. Who knows? Things are changing. You want to keep your ear to the ground to find out what's going on. And interestingly enough, as far as we can tell, your business partner isn't saying a thing about it. Oh yeah, and there's one more thing. Anybody know what this is? Have you ever seen this before? If you have, and you know anything about it, tell us in the chat or the question and answer thing. If you don't know what this is, we're not going to say too much about this, other than this might be the reason why UPS is going to play hardball with the Teamsters. Because what we just show you, could it be the beginning of the end for the two-headed horse? I have to think about it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Right now, Ken already said something about this. Right now, it's time, if you haven't already done so, to be aware of your capacity and thresholds at this point. If you don't know what your capacity, not necessarily what FedEx says your capacity is, you want to take an inventory of drivers, trucks, where is everything right now? You may not, it might be too late actually. We'll see what happens. And again, they could just magically today, all of a sudden come out later today and say, yeah, everything's fine. We've got a handshake deal or whatever. That could very well happen, but things are looking pretty bad right now. So I know a lot of you, I know I've gotten phone calls, emails, texts saying, I'm not going to prepare for this because it's going to cost me too much money and doesn't matter. because FedEx is going to regulate what comes into the system and we'll be okay. Everything will be fine. I wish that were true, folks. That's not what's going to happen. You're about to see what's going to happen. So anyways, if we can turn it over to Ken, and he can take us through the capacity calculator. That's the first step, is to figure out what do you think you can handle right now. So let me see if I can figure out
as
how to
Jeff
do this.
said, I mean, what's going to start happening is traffic managers are going to have to start to divert stuff. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, unless this gets resolved really, really quickly. And FedEx already said, end of March. Well, now, believe me, they're going to sign these contracts, and they're going to be long-term contracts. So this business is going to have to stay with FedEx for a certain period of time. Can a shipper break it? Yeah, they can say FedEx didn't deliver this, didn't deliver that. So, the onus is going to be put on you. As Jeff alluded to, there's nothing on my ground biz about this. And I'm talking to some experienced FedEx people, that's by design. Because if they start to talk about it and they have the CSPs prepare for a strike, a CSP is going to say, hey, this is going to cost me money. I need a Schedule K for, what we used to call brownout. Well, that doesn't fit the financial model for FedEx now. But what are they going to do? They're going to push you to your capacity. So if you can't bring on other drivers or don't want to, have that cost, what do you have to do? You have to know your capacity of your current operation with the current number of drivers you have and the current number of vehicles that you're able to dispatch. So this is in your eTruckBiz portal. If you're interested in signing up for a free trial, you can also get this. But under the calculator here, in the boss system, you have a capacity calculator. Do you know your current on-road hours per dispatch? If you do, you put that in here. It's not something, it's something you should know every day. If you get the end of day report, and with eTruckBiz, you know it. If you use the Optics app or the Opmetrics, you know it. How many stops per hour are you doing? What's your max on-road hours? Normally we say 9.25. You might have more capability. If you get out at 8 o'clock in the morning and your drivers don't have to be back till 7:30, quite frankly, you have 11 and a half hours or 11.75 hours. What are your stops per dispatch now? What are your number of dispatches? So in this operation, it's doing 1,310 stops. Let's say we're going to grow. Can we absorb 10%? Let's hope so. We're going to go 5% first. What's it look like? Okay. Now you're up to 105 stops per dispatch, and you are doing 1,376 stops. I would think everybody on this call could say, yeah, my drivers could absorb that. I mean, you're only adding 0.45, so not even a half an hour to every driver. Can you absorb 10%? Now all of a sudden let's get this to pop up here. Now all of a sudden you're up to almost 8 hours on the road. You're doing 100, and now you're going to do an additional 131 stops up to 1,441, 110 stops per dispatch. Once again, even at the same productivity level, you're adding less than an hour worth of work for your driver. If productivity improves, when density increases, your productivity should increase. 10 stops per driver seems pretty reasonable. Less than one stop, a little over one stop an hour. Can you do that? Do you know this? Do you know the answer? All right, let's get crazy. 15. Okay, now all of a sudden we're up to 8.36 on road. Still not at 100% capacity. I mean, still got plenty of capacity, 9.5% more capacity. Can we push it to 20%? Looks like we can in this operation. Can you do that in your operation? Do you know that? Do you have the vital inputs to figure this out? Okay. Absolutely critical. In this operation, they could absorb 20% and they're going to start to push their drivers. Now, could you do that with the same DRO plan? Probably not. Would you have to revise some of your anchors? Probably. But you got to know what your capacity is. Here it starts. So can you absorb 20% more volume in your operation without adding a resource? According to this operation, you can. Okay. The other thing we wanted to take a look at is our golden rule. This really determines how many stops you've got to put on each truck so you can make money. Really simple calculator here. If we're paying hourly, say we're starting at $19 an hour, my revenue per stop is $3.50. My planned on-road hour, my planned on-duty hours are 8.75. Real simple, 106 stops per driver day. So, you get this all the time. Hey, I need $1 an hour raise. I need $1 an hour raise. So what if you gave every one of your drivers $1 an hour raise so they don't pull a mutiny and leave you? Okay, what do you got to do now? You got to go from 106 to 111 stops per driver day. That's if you're at $3.50. Say you're in the great state of Florida where they like to not pay as much and you're down to $3 per stop. Lo and behold, now you got to hit 130 stops per driver day to get to where you need to be to fit your financial model. You're a little less dense, $4 per stop. If you're paying $20 an hour, 97 stops. Hearing more and more, $25 per hour. Okay, we hear it. So if you're paying $25 per hour and you got $4 of revenue, you got to be up to 122 stops per dispatch. Come back down to 350. Per stop. There we go. All of a sudden, you're almost at 140. So these are some of the tools that we offer in the software. Once again, if you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to utilize the free trial. Very, very valuable tools for planning. This golden rule really helps you determine if you can financially be successful, even if it's a new CSA. So encourage you to use these tools. This capacity calculator is just going to be more and more important as this volume starts to move your way. Believe me, I was in between my stints. I was a traffic manager, and I know that my boss or the owner of the company would be coming down on me hard if I did not have an alternative to ship UPS very soon. And I would say Friday being the drop dead day. Bob or Jeff, anything to add to the capacity calculator and the golden rule?
No, I think you got to know this because so far it really there's been a drift upward in volume, and some weeks you can't tell because it's whatever. We've been through these threats before. This one always seemed a little bit different. Again, there could be a deal done today, but if that volume starts hitting if they start picking up, let's put it another way. If FedEx thinks that they can get the business from somebody they've been after for a long time, for years and years, and they never would talk to them, who knows, whatever it is. No, we love UPS. UPS is the greatest. All of a sudden, what's happening right now is going to change some of those opinions. Well, we like UPS, but maybe we need to give FedEx a little bit of business. So what's going to happen now? You're going to see it. You're going to see it now. You're going to see some increases in volume. Maybe not that whole entire account's going to come over to FedEx now, but they're going to now all of a sudden, well, maybe we should give FedEx 10% here. It won't take long that volume will hit these buildings, hit the hubs, hit the buildings, and it's going to come in. They're going to put it on your trucks, and they're going to expect you to deliver that volume. And you can say, well, I'm protected by my thresholds. Do you know what your thresholds are? Hopefully you do. So you need to be aware of that. But what's going to stop them? Okay, this is the first thing that's going to happen. What's going to stop them from putting more on your trucks than your thresholds are? Might like that because they're going to pay you extra. But guess what? If they put it on your trucks, you're going to need to get it done. Right? This has been a tough time. So for now, year and a half, volume's been flat. It's been the opposite, and it could like a light switch change here this week. If there's a real threat, there is a real threat of a strike now. The volume's going to pick up, and we don't want to sit here and try to be the black cloud. This is a great opportunity if you can manage this, and you can get some more stops on your trucks and get some more productivity out of the drivers and whatnot, and you're going to be forced to. It's going to be a good thing in the end. And there's been people saying, well, I'm not going to gear up for 2 weeks, and it's going to go away after 2 weeks. No, it won't. For one thing, it's going to, if things start happening like it looks like it's going to happen now, if the network gets buried, then it'll take a month or more at least to get out of it. These folks that if somebody signed some sort of agreement that FedEx thinks they can get somebody that it was hard to get, whatever, they'll continue giving FedEx some volume for a while. They may not give FedEx everything they wanted, whatever, but there's enough accounts that'll start coming on that they'll give them a little bit more volume, especially now going through the rest of through the end of this month, and then we'll see what happens at the end of this month. But it's coming now, folks. It's going to be coming now. So you have to know what you can handle right now.
And it's opportunity, as Jeff said. If you can absorb 10%, you add $163,000 worth of revenue to your operation. If you can do that without adding any resources and you keep it on your current truck, yeah, you're going to pay some more in wages. You're going to pay about an hour more in wages per day. Okay, that's going to happen. The rest drops to the bottom line. It's an opportunity for you. So can you turn this $163,000 of additional revenue into $100,000 of profit? It's an opportunity. But if you just go and give money away and don't follow the golden rule here, it's all going away. And then you're going to actually lose money. So know what your capacity is. You also use this capacity for your peak planning meetings with FedEx, so you can show them what you can absorb, and you know what you can absorb. You use it with your BCs as well. Okay. Looks like we just got one question right now. Are you surprised we've not seen any real pickup in volume with the potential to strike now only 3 weeks away? A little bit. July is always a slower time in the small package industry. I think that's probably why it coincides with the contract expiring at the end of July. There's economic indicators that are slow as well. But yeah, I think the deadline is really looming, that people got to start to make decisions. Jeff, you want to add to that?
Well, if you really look at it, if you follow some of the, so we happen to have relationships with some of the Wall Street analysts, and we get to see some numbers that we shouldn't be putting up on this web meeting, and probably shouldn't talk about, and I won't talk specifically about it, except for UPS's volume has been decreasing. If you remember, I showed you the graph, and I keep every week I tell you, watch the trend. Well, the trend, believe it or not, has been up for FedEx ground volume. UPS, it's been the opposite way. If you watch some of these news reports and stuff, you're going to start hearing some of the part-time package handlers and stuff complaining about not getting all the hours they think they should be getting. So I think they guarantee them 3.5 or something. I don't know what it is specifically, but they're saying they haven't been getting the hours. And of course, UPS is saying, hey, the volume's not there. We can't give you 3.5 hours. Their volume this year so far, they've been doing pretty well on their margins, but their volume has been on the decrease while FedEx has been on the increase. Now, it hasn't been huge, and you really haven't felt it because it's been coming so slow, but the package volume in general is down. So it doesn't seem like too much is happening, but actually it is. Even in a, the tide is out for packages, but at least FedEx ground has been up a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, it is surprising we haven't seen more than we have so far, but it's probably because overall the volume is down because of the economy.
And remember, the UPS sales representatives are going in there just like following the company directive. Everything is fine, nothing to see here. Everything is fine. Don't be hoodwinked into giving that business away to FedEx. So as longer this goes, the more that UPS representative looks like a liar. And then the shipper is going to resent that, especially if they get locked out and can't move packages. First of all, you're going to have a new traffic manager, and his boss is going to tell them you will explore and use other resources other than UPS. So that volume will stay with FedEx for a while. And believe me, if FedEx goes after somebody they've been trying to get, it will be a long-term agreement. They're not just going to sign something for 6 months. They're going to sign something for 1 or 2 years. Okay. Anything else to add, Jeff or Bob?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah, our goal isn't to scare you. Our goal is to really make you more aware of your operation, your capacity in your operation, the capabilities of your operation. And, are there days where you're going to have to push people farther than they've been pushed before? Probably. Well, as long as they follow the methods, both driving and delivery methods, they can do it safely and the return can be there. It will extend their day. All of this $163,000 can come to your operation with no productivity gains at all. And once again, if you paid out 63,000 more and you netted 100,000, that's a good year. Okay, that is a daggone good year. So how long is the average contract between any shipper and FedEx? Normally they're a yearly agreement. Jeff, would you agree with that?
Right. Some folks have heard us talk about freight agreements before, is a long story, but basically, yeah, usually about a year.
Okay. All righty. So it looks like those are the only questions. We will be back on the Tuesday schedule next week. So please join us again. Hopefully we'll be able to give you more information on this. If it's resolved, great. Then we could start to talk about peak, but you're always going to want to know your capacity, and you're always going to want to know, you know, the golden rule. You need to follow that. So we believe we have the tools to help you get through the threat here of the strike and help you during peak and to help you every day. So without further ado, I want to thank everybody for your time today. Look forward to talking to you next week again. So please have a safe, profitable week. Thank you very much.